We are to portray the name, the nature, and the image of the God that we serve. And that's why I think that when Paul writes this letter to the Corinthians, he could very well have been thinking about Isaiah's words. So, before we get into the text, let me ask you a couple questions I'd love for you to think through. And this is, again, something that we do here in Dixon. It's a way for me to get you to start thinking from the heart about the text that we're about to cover. So the first question this week that I would ask you is, what happens when we, God's people, know the Word of God, but don't trust the God of the Word? You know what? It's one thing to know what God has said, to quote His promises, to even recall His commandments. But it's another thing entirely to rest in the one who spoke them. Ahaz knew the prophecies. He knew the covenant. He even heard God's own offer of a sign. Yet fear still won the argument in his heart. When we stop trusting the God of the Word becomes information rather than transformation. We start relying on our logic, our resources, or our Assyria instead of His faithfulness. And what happens then? The Word we know no longer anchors us. It starts to testify against us.